And, we're talking about module home communities. There's actually a difference between the module homes and also the mobile homes. And today we're speaking with Richard Brackbury. Talked a lot about module homes, so we'll get a little bit into mobile. But first, I understand that you have a bit of a shout out because there's such an expanding network of module home communities. You could be looking at maybe home sale dealers or tradespeople that could install, the module home. Can you give me a bit of an idea of what it is that you're looking for, like as far as tradespeople?
Yes, actually, that's an excellent question. Trade skills we'd be looking for is someone who has carpentry, drywall, taping, somebody has a plumbing background, general overall construction, and the understanding of such. They'll be able to do, some of them, sometimes we're requiring 2-car garages, 3-car garages, decks, a lot of the accessories that people might want to do, expanding into outdoor living. Tremendous opportunities as a career, as a home set and installer. If you're driving down the 401 or the 400 highway, you're likely to have spotted at some point a wide load modular home going down the road.
I've actually seen them. I looked at them and thought, oh, okay, isn't that cool? I wonder how they did that. And that was it. And then I kind of forgot about them. But it just opened my eyes tremendously when I met everybody at the International Home and Garden Show.
Yeah, again, our resource for trades is diminishing. And there's not a lot of young men and women going into it. And that's part of the reason that the factory-built home is becoming popular, because it is giving the consumer a choice in a supply that formerly was not available to them. For example, if you've got less carpenters out there, you can appreciate that you're going to have less choice, less flexibility, and prices will be higher. Mm-hmm. This, when they're built in a factory environment, they're controlled, they're inspected. I've had tapers tell me that they have a heck of a job when they're in there trying to make things straight after the truss have been sitting outside in the snow and the wet and the sleet, and they're all warped and twisted.
Mm-hmm. Well, especially, over this last winter we've had, I can just imagine if there was any construction material out there during the last few months. We've had, we're living in Alaska, aren't we?
And the business opportunities could be those that are looking to convert their parks into something like an 11-month season, or generally it's easier to go 11 months than a full season, and many people are happy to be snowbirds for 1 or 2 months of the year. And so they can develop and upgrade their existing parks, and we work with them in that regard too. We upgrade the accommodations and build community centers, and we make it more of a resort lifestyle community.
Well, while you're talking, I was thinking, so really, if you think about modular homes, you can take the word home out of there and you can actually bring offices in there too. If there's doctors, lawyers, and they have a lot and they want to open up a business or practice, they could easily choose the design that could cater to that style, not necessarily have the old-fashioned store with the apartments above and, more of that, or even a commercial building. They could actually go for, because I know my own doctor, as a matter of fact, he has a house in a residential neighborhood and he's on a main corner of an intersection. He's got the joint residential commercial zoning, so he's able to run a business practice there.
Sure, the old saying, you make your money off your business, you retire off your real estate.
Well, absolutely.
And if you were doing a converted dwelling versus a purpose-built dwelling, you're going to get more efficiencies, you're going to get a better flow, you're going to get a better overall satisfaction from the product. And, again, you're not getting premiums. This will really work well for dentists. They have a high cost on a site where we can coordinate and build it in the factory, where they're electric and so on. So we do dental office, doctor office, real estate office, accounting firms. We're very flexible.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that would be ideal. You mentioned about tradespeople. It's interesting. Last week I was actually showing some property in the beaches, and some of the homes over there are very old, as you know, and you're getting plaster walls. You don't even get drywall. You're getting plaster. And then, of course, you see crown moldings, and you know that they were hand done. I mean, I don't even think there's anybody out there anymore that can even do that kind of workmanship. I mean, they're hand-done crown moldings and plaster and, and then they had the different designs where the light fixtures were. But you can tell, like, it was all hand-done, whereas, the minute the changeover to drywall took effect, I mean, that's exactly where all the builders and all the construction started to moving towards was drywall, taping, sanding, finishing,
Certainly. The art of handing down the secrets and implementation of the trade is gone by the wayside.
Oh, I think you're right.
Our youth wakes up in the morning not thinking about getting up at 5 or 6 o'clock to be on the job site at 7 pounding nails.
Well,
they don't want to do it. They haven't been trained for it. They don't have the mindset for it. Yet we have the demand.
Well, Richard, it's amazing that we're talking about this because I was actually in Panama City at New Year's this year. I combined business with pleasure. It was great. And just to get away for a bit. I was astounded at the level of construction. Like, we went and saw the Trump building and the amount of architectural, like the concrete, the plaster that they used on there. I mean, we have so much complaints going on with and concerns about glass condos and falling glass and the construction and whether the building permits are giving longevity to these condominiums. And I think that what you're saying is that if we do have, a shortage of trades, and certainly we're entering a different type of lifestyle, as children, young adults get older, a lot of them into more computer business savvy, a total different mindset from where everybody was 20 years ago. I can totally see where there could potentially be a large market shift.
Well, from the 1800s, Confederation time, you'll see certain periods of immigration that people will come from other countries and bring their skills. Mm-hmm. And, as time evolves and they move from being a bricklayer to being an accountant or being a teacher or being in law enforcement or whatever else they choose to do, they just get into different careers.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, the old saying is that I think a parent's dream is to have a business, and then all of a sudden their children grow up and they want the children to step in and run that business. Well, lo and behold, the child doesn't want anything to do with that business. They've gone off and chosen their own career. And, sometimes it does affect the household, and, you have mother, father, and son and daughter all following in the footsteps. But that's not always the case, and I see it's less and less as we move forward.
Yeah, I would say 2008 busted that myth, where the big businesses got down on their knees and asked for handouts to stay alive, and who knew that they were going to get it or not get it? Yes.
Well, pretty much. Well, I think that if somebody now, if we can go, like if somebody decided that they didn't want to go with the module, and where is the shift over the difference between where the module homes are compared to mobile homes? So the mobile homes are more, like, is that leased land, or does it make a difference between the two?
Well, you can put either on. Mobile home would be something in an RV park, something kind of upwards to 3 seasonal, but traditionally it's where they come in on May 24th weekend and they finish up at the Thanksgiving weekend. That's where your mobile homes fit.
Okay. And then, so the mobile homes would be, they're still transportable, or they're on hookups of your vehicle.
And they stay on a frame.
Okay.
They stay on a frame with wheels. No, they take their wheels off and they leave the axles and they put them up on blocks.
Gotcha.
That's the principal difference. And then, of course, the construction is different, too. It's not built for year-round. Mm-hmm. A lot of those come in what they call board and batten. That's a lighter material on the walls, and they kind of click together, where your modular comes with a full drywall.
And then the hookups for water and so on aren't into the mainstream. They're just whatever the trailer park would actually offer you, correct?
Yes, and they traditionally come in like 50 amps, where the modular will come in as a 200 amp.
Okay, I gotcha. And
then the heating will be lower BTUs. The windows are a different energy efficiency. Mm-hmm. It's designed for recreational, affordable type little cottage or RV.
Well, I think one thing's great is you actually have the logo for the disability, and that's good. So you can have the houses customized for anyone that may be having some form of disability, so that it would the accessibility would be a lot easier for them. I guess it can all be part of it. So you can, lower the counters and do that type of thing. Say, for instance, if it's an owner that's wheelchair bound and can't always reach, the countertops and the taps and so on, normally the closets, that type of thing?
Absolutely, and we understand that market very well.
Well, that's a very unique market because we don't really have any other ways to specialize that. Like if you're going into a normal kind of subdivision, and you make those kind of changes in that subdivision, I would imagine that you're going to be paying an awful lot of money, as opposed to ordering a modular home and being able to have it done at specs level.
And often the big thing when you're getting a home built is what they call change orders. And change orders are never free. They will cost you. So if you start getting into it and you think you're going to spend $200,000 and you decide you want to do a bump out here or a change out there, all of a sudden you're up $50,000.
Exactly. Well, it adds up pretty quick.
Oh, it does. And you got nowhere to go because you've only got one guy that's going to price that for you.
Well, exactly.
The guy who's in there doing it. And that doesn't have to necessarily be the most, the best tendered out competitive price. They're there.
Well, I think a lot of the times is that in normal subdivisions, they have they'll say, okay, these are your counters and these are your, ceramics or porcelain or granite or whichever one it is that you choose. So you can choose your finishings, but if you start modifying the height and so on, now all of a sudden, they hire their tradespeople that kind of fly through the house. So that tradesperson jumps from house 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 and basically just keeps repeating the same thing that they're doing between 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5. So they're not, they may be customizing certain things like adding pot lights here or there, but when you start shifting and modifying the height levels and whatnot, I think that's where maybe there is some degree of confusion, certainly a lot more expensive.
Yeah. They're used to the cookie cutter.
Well, I'm really happy that we were able to talk about this further, because I think that you've given the audience a wealth of information on modular homes, something to think about. And certainly now what people can do is take a look, especially if they want to get into maybe a secondary home, a cottage or a country home as well, not necessarily always in subdivisions in the local communities, but it seems like an ideal choice for them. So I think that, Richard, excellent. Thank you so much for coming on the Condo Expert. And again,
sorry about the beat there.
Oh no, that's okay. It's not a problem. Again, it's interesting because like I said, if people are really keen and getting involved and buying into the modular homes, there's so many great benefits for them. You can certainly fill in the blanks that we haven't covered today.
Linda, I was buying old apartment buildings, and the labor is the most inconsistent, hardest thing to find. If you've got work for somebody 350 days of the year, you're good. But if you've got 2 months here, 1 month there, 1 week in the other spot, it's difficult. And you'll get 10, if you have 10 different people, you get 10 different variations of quality, you get 10 different variations of reasonability and price.
Right.
I had a sidewalk quoted to me, and the first guy quoted me $20,000. The next guy quoted me $8,000, and really he was the guy that was going to do it for the other guy who quoted me $20,000, and he was going to get paid $8,000. And then I actually did it myself for $3,500.
Well, I have to tell you, we hear so many nightmare stories about people wanting to go and get contractors, and I mean, in the rural areas, it is a nightmare because, it's very, very hard to know who to go with. And interesting enough, even driveways.
We never spoke to that. So that's probably the number one thing. I'll go to a builder, and I'll say, how would you like me to eliminate 80% of your anxiety?
And he will say,
says, really, how are you going to do that? And I say, you know what? You can use your facade people. You can use your trim and flooring and cabinet people. But what I'll do is I'll bring it to box. I'll bring it in boxes. I'll set it. You have your foundation done. And then you can get your brickies or your stucco guys or your siding, whatever kind of siding you want. You work on that, your concrete steps, whatever you want to do. I says, then you can put your trim and flooring guys in there in your cabinet. And and that's your signature. Really, as a builder, is what kind of facades do you do? What's your designs, your roof pitches, etc. And they said your expensive trades are your HVAC, plumbing, and electrical. I really, when people are putting these down, I got them down to $1,000 to $2,000, and they go between $15,000 and $20,000.
Really? So there you go. So you've heard it here. You know, I think one quick question is that on driveways, because I am curious about driveways. I know in the rural area they have the what is it called? It's a reused asphalt, and it's
recycled.
Recycled. That's it. Recycled asphalt, and a really good alternative as opposed to the gravel and stone, and certainly not going to the huge expense of putting brand new asphalt, and certainly stay away from concrete. So that seems to be a really great alternative.
And you can do that on probably about 20% of the cost.
Exactly. Yeah. And, environmental friendly and everything else. So something for people to think about as well is, especially if they're more in a rural area, it would be an ideal thing to stay with as opposed to the alternatives. They could save some money and they'd still have a great surface.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Well, I think that today's show has been incredibly enlightening, and I have to thank you, Richard, for coming on the show. You've given some really great information. You really have. It's great. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Linda. It's been enjoyable.
Thank you. Well, we've listened to Richard Brackbury. He's the Operations and Development Manager for iModular Homes. And if you want to take a look at their website, it's iModularHomesinc.com, iModularHomesInc.com. Thank you so much for tuning in to The Condo Expert. You're listening to Linda Pinizzotto.
Linda Pinizzotto. She's not your typical realtor. She's your real estate counselor, teacher, and advisor. Whether it's a house, townhome, or condo, when you're ready, she's your negotiator. With 34 years of experience, Linda guarantees that you have the real estate knowledge you need to make the right decisions. Call Linda Pinizzotto at Sutton Group Quantum Realty, 416-561-7373, or visit her at lindapinizzotto.com.
Hello there, it's Linda Pinizzotto of the Condo Expert. And, I have to thank you for tuning in to Connect Me Radio. Every week we have the shows, Wednesday and Friday nights at 7 p.m. And you can also listen to podcasts, Linda Pinizzotto /Buzzsprout.com. And also iTunes. Just type in Linda Pinizzotto or Condo Expert. One thing I want to mention is, although the name is Condo Expert, I try to touch a lot of different subjects because, one thing revolves to the next. I mean, you can talk about condos, you can talk about single-family homes, you can talk about the market, the economy. You can talk about, last week it was about bugs and pest control. We've talked about mortgage financing, lawyers, the Condo Act review, what's going on with our city hall, municipalities, provincial government. Today, the episode's been about modular homes. We touched on mobile homes. There isn't a subject that I can't touch on. And if you are interested in listening to something that has tweaked your mind and you just can't find the real information, please email Linda at lindapinizzotto.com, because this is where you're going to get the information. And it's fun, it's exciting, and at any given time, just type in condoexpert.com and it will give you the total rundown of all the shows that have been out there. There's over 200 shows. Now's the time to learn more. As a realtor for the last 35 years, I've been so fortunate to learn so many different things about everything that we have talked about, and I'm here to help you. So thank you so much for tuning in. You're listening to Linda Pinizzotto at the Condo Expert. Hope to hear from you soon, and have a wonderful, fabulous day.